And now we'll practice downward facing dog with a chair. So have your sticky mat against the wall and place the back of the chair at the wall. And rest your hands down on the seat of the chair and step your feet back into a down dog position. So we don't want the back to be rounded at all or the pelvis to be tucked. Rather, bend your knees and lift your buttocks way up high so that your pelvis will tilt on the femurs. So the buttocks is lifting, and let the front of your spine be very long. Stretch through the arms, stretch the elbows, the armpits, pull the outer hips back, pull the inner thighs back, pull the pubic bone back and up behind you, and let the head release down and let the chest release towards the toes. Think of the upper spine, the thoracic spine, deepening into the body towards the chest, and then lengthen the trunk. Lengthen the outsides of the trunk and lengthen the inner trunk. Lift the buttocks up. You can keep your knees bent here. That might help you lift the buttocks and pull it way back. And then lean into the chair as you step your feet forward. Come to your knees to practice cat-cow. Have your hands directly under your shoulders, arms extended. Inhale in neutral and then exhale into cat pose, rounding the back, lifting the waist to the ceiling, head and tailbone heavy. Hang out here and breathe. Let the belly recede and press your shoulder blades away from your spine. So reach your shoulder blades down into the arms, into the hands, which are spreading and pressing into the mat. And then on your next inhale, move through neutral and then into cow pose. So lift the buttocks and the sitting bones. Let the upper thoracic spine sink towards the chest. Lift and widen the collarbones. Lengthen the throat as you lift the chin and look up. And then come back to neutral. Take a nice deep breath in to lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, start to come into cat pose, bringing the chin towards the chest. Tailbone moves down and in, rounding the back. And then inhale into cow pose, lifting the chest, lifting the buttocks. Shoulders move back away from the ears. And exhale back into cat pose. Really extend through your elbows. Reach your shoulder blades down towards your hands. And then inhale into cow. Let the bottom front ribs reach forward. Lift the chest, lift the buttocks. And exhale back into cat. And continue at your own pace here. And play with it a little bit. See if you can find some extra movement in the shoulder blade area, in the upper thoracic spine area. You can let yourself be a little bit creative here with some subtle movements, staying with the cat-cow pattern, but being a little bit experimental, a little bit squirmy. As you come into cow pose, feel the shoulders really move back away from the ears, shoulder blades sliding down the back. And then as you come into cat pose, round the whole spine and reach the shoulder blades away from the spine towards the hands. Relax internally as you keep going. See if you can deepen the movement. Deepen your awareness in the moment. And on your next inhalation, make your way back into a neutral position. Next, we'll do extended child's pose without the blanket roll in the hip crease, but we'll remember the blanket roll. So bring your knees wide, big toes touching, pull your hips back and down, and stretch your hands and arms forward. Be very active and extended here in your trunk. Keep the elbows lifting, forearms lifting. Press the inner hands down into the mat and pull your outer hips back and down. And now lift your trunk and pull your bottom front ribs forward to lengthen your belly. And as you release your head down and go deeper in the pose, remember the imprint of that blanket roll in the hip crease. So the belly is not going down towards the mat, but rather the soft, long belly is receiving the imprint of the blanket roll, and the belly is receding back towards the lumbar, so the lumbar can have a gentle rounding. Pull the upper buttocks back. Pull the buttocks back and down. Be long through the front of the thoracic spine. Keep the arms active, armpits long. Pull the hips back as much as you reach the arms and rib cage forward. Let the belly recede and soften back towards the anterior spine. Smooth breathing here. And then inhale up to hands and knees to come out of the pose. And now we'll practice downward facing dog with a chair. So have your sticky mat against the wall and place the back of the chair at the wall. And rest your hands down on the seat of the chair and step your feet back into a down dog position. So we don't want the back to be rounded at all or the pelvis to be tucked. Rather, bend your knees and lift your buttocks way up high so that your pelvis will tilt on the femurs. So the buttocks is lifting, and let the front of your spine be very long. Stretch through the arms, stretch the elbows, the armpits, pull the outer hips back, pull the inner thighs back, pull the pubic bone back and up behind you, and let the head release down and let the chest release towards the toes. Think of the upper spine, the thoracic spine, deepening into the body towards the chest. And then lengthen the trunk. Lengthen the outsides of the trunk and lengthen the inner trunk. Lift the buttocks up. You can keep your knees bent here. That might help you lift the buttocks and pull it way back. And then lean into the chair as you step your feet forward. Now we'll practice legs up the wall pose. So place your sticky mat against the wall and then sit down so that one side of your body is very close to the wall, and then swing your back onto the floor and your legs up the wall. And scoochie yourself in very close to the wall so that you feel the backs of your legs and your buttocks resting on the wall. Stretch the legs up, stretch the inner feet up, and extend your arms onto the sticky mat up overhead. Long arms and long legs, long trunk, soft, long belly settling down towards the anterior spine. Toes are open. And stay active here, lengthening the limbs, keeping the chest open, grounding the inner thighs and the tops of your thighs towards the wall. And then adjust your arm position. Take your arms by your sides and let your shoulder blades slide down your back and come into a more restful pose now. Stay present and deepen your breath. And now bend your knees and roll onto one side. Now we'll practice Ardha Uttanasana. So have your blocks in front of your feet, which are hip distance apart. Activate, energize the legs, thighs back, hands on hips, chest open, shoulders back. Lift from under the heart, and then exhale, bend your knees as you crease at the hips and bring your hands to the blocks. So don't let the spine round at all here. Don't tuck the pelvis or tuck the chin, but rather bend your knees and lift the buttocks, lift the sitting bones, and stretch the front ribs forward to open the chest and look up. Widen the collarbones, elongate the belly, elongate the front of the spine. Stretch through the elbows, straight arms here. And keep those knees bent if it helps you keep the buttocks lifting. Stay grounded in the inner feet as much as the outer feet. Pubic bone reaches back, inner thighs reach back. Slide the front of the rib cage forwards and breathe here. Pull the outer hips back, pull the upper inner thighs back, pull the rib cage forward. Deepen the thoracic spine into the body towards the chest. And then release the hands down to the floor as you bend the knees deeper and fold deeply, taking rib cage towards thighs. Releasing here. And then hands to hips, stretch the chest forward, shoulders back, and come up. We'll practice a version of Urdhva Hastasana with a strap. So hold on to your strap in your hands quite wide, and then lift the arms up overhead and put a little tension on the strap. Make sure that your feet and legs are organized underneath you. A little bit of space between the feet. Get long in the legs, grounded in the feet. Lift the low belly and stretch the whole rib cage up off of the abdomen so the front, side, and back ribs are all lifting. And then continue the expression of that rib cage lift by stretching and lifting the arms, lifting the strap overhead. Let the arms move back as the shoulder blades move forward into the rib cage. Head balancing right on top, lengthening the body here. And then exhale and lower the arms down. Now we'll practice Uttanasana. And we'll use a strap here, so hold on to the strap behind your back with palms facing forward. And begin by bringing the heads of the humerus bones, or the very tops of your shoulders, back. Stand tall on two legs, and then bend your knees as you start to hinge at the hips to fold forward, taking the arms up and overhead. Stretch the arms towards the wrists. Pull your shoulder blades towards each other slightly and take the strap up and overhead. Let your head relax and release down. And with soft knees, think of the front of the rib cage releasing down towards the toenails, so the abdomen stays long. Breathe here as you release the rib cage down, as you release the spine and the head down. Stay active in the arms, reaching the extension of the arms towards the hands. Lift the backs of the legs. Exhale right on through the top of the head. Open and released in the back of the throat. And then lead with the arms reaching back to help you come on up. Spread wide through the collarbones. And release. And now we'll practice Ardha Prasarita Padottanasana. And we'll do this with bent knees. So start in Tadasana and have your blocks ready. Take your hands to your hips with an open chest, lifted spine. And walk your feet out wide, heels wider than toes. Legs energized and long, thigh bones back, lifted belly. Stretch your arms out to the sides. Active in the limbs here. Internally rotate the thighs and lift from underneath the heart. Ground through the inner feet and the outer feet, and then take your hands back to your hips, keeping the shoulders reaching back. And now start to bend your knees and fold at the hips. Bring your hands down to the blocks and don't round your back or tuck your pelvis here, but rather deepen the bend of the knees and lift the buttocks way up. Stretch the front ribs forward and let the thoracic spine deepen into the chest. So keep the knees bent here, which will allow you to find a true lift of the buttocks. Stretch the chest forward, extend through the arms. Elongate the anterior spine. Stay grounded in the inner feet. And then start to deeply fold down. You can keep your hands resting on blocks and move the blocks closer to your feet. Or if your hands reach the floor, you can rest your weight into your hands a little bit. Staying with knees bent. Lift the buttocks, roll the thighs in. Release and relax the head down. Release and relax the back ribs, side ribs, and front ribs down. Deep breath here. And then hands to hips, bend the knees deeper, stretch the chest forward, shoulders back, and come all the way up, thigh bones back. Lifting the spine, and step your feet together. Now we'll practice Ardha Prasarita Padottanasana with a twist in the variation. So have your blocks ready on the highest height. Stand in Tadasana in mountain pose. Take your hands to your hips. Lift the spine from bottom to top and step your feet wide with the heels wider than toes. Internally rotate the thighs, ground the inner feet, pull the thigh bones back. Shoulders back, and then stretch the arms out. Lift the side ribs and reach the right arm to the right and the left arm to the left. And then hands back to hips, and then crease and fold at the hips, bending the knees so that you can lift the buttocks, lift the backs of the legs, and lift the buttocks up. Bring your hands onto the blocks. And then lift the left hand up towards the ceiling so that you come into a twist. Keep the knees bent, the buttocks lifted, the front of the spine long. Have a back bend feeling in the upper back. And turn the belly and the rib cage. Lift the left arm and left shoulder up. And then exhale and come down. Rest your left hand on the block and lift your right arm up to come into a twist on the other side. Groins reaching back, buttocks lifting, front of the spine lengthening. Stretch the right arm up, stretch the right shoulder up, and turn the belly, turn the rib cage. And then exhale and come down. And then hands to hips and stretch your chest forward and come on up. Now lay down on your belly for Shalabhasana, and one at a time reach your legs back so that you set yourself up very long on the floor. Take your hands by your hips, forehead down, and then start to lift the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Lift your legs, lift the wrists, reach your chest forward, reach your legs back, and pull the arms back as you stretch your spine forwards. Anchor your tailbone down. Lift the inner thighs, stretch the knees, open the toes, and lift those outer arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, release down, resting your head to one side. And then turn your head and rest the other cheek down on the ground. Release and relax the buttocks. And now for another version of Shalabhasana. So be on your belly, stretched out long. Lengthen your rib cage forward, lengthen your legs back, and then stretch your arms forwards. And once again, adjust your legs so that your legs are really reaching back and so the arms are reaching forward. So you should feel nice and long here, laid out on the ground. Prone position, belly down. And now start to lift your right arm and left leg up. So stay grounded in that right leg, stay grounded in the left hand. Lift the chest up as well and get longer in that right arm and longer in that left leg. And then slowly lower down and switch sides. Now lifting the left arm up and the right leg up. Stay grounded in that right hand, stay grounded in the left leg and left top of foot, lifting the chest, lengthening the limbs here. And then exhale and release down. And again, lifting the right arm and the left leg. Anchor your tailbone down towards the sticky mat. Lengthen the right arm forward and the left leg back. Extended elbow, extended knee. And lower down. And again, lift the left arm and the right leg up. Reach the left arm forward and the right leg back. Lengthen the limbs. And exhale and come down. Now lay down on your belly for Shalabhasana, and one at a time reach your legs back so that you set yourself up very long on the floor. Take your hands by your hips, forehead down, and then start to lift the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Lift your legs, lift the wrists, reach your chest forward, reach your legs back. And pull the arms back as you stretch your spine forwards. Anchor your tailbone down. Lift the inner thighs, stretch the knees, open the toes, and lift those outer arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, release down, resting your head to one side. And then turn your head and rest the other cheek down on the ground. Release and relax the buttocks. And now we'll practice a side bend in Vajrasana. So sit on your shins with a blanket under your shins for padding. And you can sit on a bolster if that helps. You can place the bolster right on your heels. And then inhale and reach your arms up overhead, lengthening. And as you exhale, take your right hand down to the sticky mat and take a side bend over to the right. Extend through the left arm. Stay grounded in both thigh bones. Stay grounded in the outer hips, releasing down in the inner thighs. And then see if you can find a taste of a back bend in the upper back here as you side bend. And then inhale back to the center, lifting the arms up. And exhale, side bend over to the other side, deepening the thoracic vertebrae towards the chest, into the body as you extend the right arm and turn the right ribs up to the ceiling as you side bend. Left hand grounding into the sticky mat. Left hand grounding into the floor. And then inhale up to center, extending long. And exhale, release your arms out and down. And now lay down on your back for a shoulder opening exercise. Have your knees bent and feet flat, your pelvis and spine in neutral. And then stretch your arms out to the sides. and start to slide your shoulder blades down your back. Stay long in the trunk, long in the abdomen, long in the rib cage, and pull the arms out to the sides, right arm to the right, left arm to the left, and stretch your arms out to the sides from the midline. So from the midline, you extend and expand your wingspan, and then press the backs of your hands into the floor as you press the shoulder blades up into the rib cage. So firm those shoulder blades up to the rib cage. Stretch more, extend through the elbows. Open the palms, open the fingers. And then as you exhale, release out of this activity. Now we'll practice another shoulder opening exercise called cactus. So bring your arms into the cactus position. So there's a 90-degree angle at the elbows. Elbows are shoulder height, and then the forearms are parallel to each other. Knees bent and feet flat, neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Slide your shoulder blades down your back and press your forearms into the floor as you snuggle your shoulder blades up into your rib cage. And then start to lift the elbows up towards the ceiling, keeping the fingernails down onto the floor, and then lower the elbows back down. And again, lift the elbows up to the ceiling, creating some deep external rotation in the upper arm bones, and lower the elbows back down. And keep going like this, keeping the fingernails grounded, feeling the shoulder blades sliding down the back and snuggling into the rib cage. Breathing here as you lift the elbows up and then lower the elbows back down. And then as you exhale, release out of this activity. Now we'll practice a simple groin stretch. Start on your back with a neutral pelvis, neutral spine, knees bent and feet flat. Legs are parallel, and stretch your arms overhead. Lengthen out through the arms. And then stretch the legs as well and roll the thighs internally so the fronts of your legs point straight up to the ceiling. And be very long in your limbs and in your trunk here, creating length. And then keep that length in the trunk, in the left leg, and bring the right knee towards the chest, towards the right side of the chest, even towards the right armpit. And grab onto the right knee with both hands and clasped fingers. And stay long in the abdomen, long in the spine. Extend long through that left leg, roll the left thigh in, and ground the left thigh bone down towards the floor. And then grab the right knee with your right hand only, as you see here, and start to pull your right knee out to the right. Stretch your left arm to the left at shoulder height, and open up that right knee out to the side. Stay long in the left leg. And play with moving around that right knee up towards the armpit, down towards hip level. And see if you can explore a groin inner thigh stretch here as the right knee opens out to the right. And then bring the knee back to center and pause here. And then stretch your right leg out, lengthening it out as you bring your left knee towards the left side of your chest. And grab onto the top of the left shin with clasped fingers. And pull the left knee towards the left armpit as you stretch the right leg more. Internally rotate, especially at the very top of the right thigh, and ground the right thigh down. Stay awake in your feet, toes spreading. Long spine. Don't let your abdomen become hardened. A receding, long abdomen. Open chest, shoulder blades sliding down your back. And then stretch the right arm to the right as you take the left knee in the left hand only and start to pull the knee over to the left so the knee stays bent. And you open that left knee out to the left, staying active in your right leg. And play with some movement here, taking your left knee up towards the armpit or down towards hip level. Explore the range of motion here as you enjoy the groin opening. Reach the inner right foot forward and take your knee out to the side even more, deepening the stretch. And then take your knee back to the center. And then place your left foot down. Bend your right knee and place your right foot down. And lay down on your back now for a supine twist. Extend your arms out to the sides. Lift your knees up over your hips. And then take your knees over to the right towards your right elbow. And rest your legs down on the floor here. And then reach the left arm to the left to increase the twist. Feel your belly rolling to the left as your legs relax more and more to the right. Have a sense of widening across the collarbones, long and wide through the arms, open hands. You can ground your arms down into the floor, lengthen the spine here, and turn the belly more to the left as you relax the legs more to the right. And then bring your legs up to the center. And take your legs over towards the left elbow, knees nice and bent. Take a moment as you settle your body here. Reach the right arm to the right to help open the chest. And let your belly recede and roll to the right as you relax your legs more and more to the left. Spread through the arms, long spine, smooth breath. Roll the belly to the right. And then take the legs back to center and feet down. Now we'll practice a supported fish with a bolster underneath the rib cage and have a strap nearby for your hands. So lay back so the bolster supports you underneath your thoracic spine. Release the flesh of the buttocks away from the lower back, away from the back ribs. Knees bent and feet flat to support you, and then grab your strap and reach your arms up and overhead, hands holding the strap at shoulder distance apart. Enjoy this nice extension of the spine as you lengthen through the front of the spine and lengthen the abdomen, and then extend your legs. Stretch the legs and stretch the arms. Allow yourself to be supported by the bolster here. Become internally absorbed here. As you relax and release and gently guide yourself to lengthen a little more. Smooth and steady inhalation and a steady exhalation. And then bend your knees one at a time, place your feet flat, and roll to your side. Pass through your side to come out of the pose, coming on up to sit. Now we'll do another version of supported fish, this time with a bolster and 2 blankets. So please set up as you see here. The bolster is horizontal, and then you have 2 folded blankets, and that will be for your head support. So lay back over the bolster so the bolster is supporting your rib cage. It's not under the lumbar spine. Rather, it's under the thoracic spine. And then pull the flesh of the buttocks away from the lower back. And the shoulders will relax into the gap between the bolster and the folded blankets, and the head will rest on the folded blankets. And start to extend and relax the legs. Let the arms relax right out to the sides. Let the abdomen settle. Let the shoulders relax here. See if the shoulders can really let go because of all of this support that's here. Let the head and neck relax because they're supported by the blankets. Let the upper torso relax as it's supported by the bolster. Let gravity have an effect on the shoulders, releasing and relaxing. Slow down your exhalations here. Stay very present in this moment inside yourself. Observing whatever arises. Smooth inhalation, smooth exhalation. And then start to come out of the pose by curling onto your right side. Now get ready for Supta Baddha Konasana. So have your bolster on the sticky mat lengthwise and have an open blanket near your feet as you see here. And tuck your buttocks under so the flesh of your buttocks is pulled away from your lower back, and then lengthen yourself back out onto the bolster. And let your feet come together and the knees open, and wrap the blanket over the feet. Find a way to bunch up the blanket so that you're supported. And then grab onto opposite elbows and have your arms all the way overhead. Relax and release the internal trunk here so that your breath can move freely through the trunk. Let the breath move up and down the spine. And as you relax in your trunk, see if more length comes naturally. Relax and release the abdomen, unsticking, ungripping any contraction. And then switch the cross of the arms and pull for a moment the elbows long behind you so that your arms are elongating out of the waist. And let your arms rest as you settle, as you elongate the exhalations here. Release and relax the hips and the groins. Enjoy the support of the bolster for your upper back. And enjoy the passive extension, allowing any tightness along the front of the spine to become open and free and long. And now open your arms out into a cactus position. So the elbows come towards the floor at around shoulder height. And the forearms are parallel. And your forearms may or may not come to the floor here. It depends on how open you are. It depends on the height of your bolster. But just explore this nice open position in the chest, elbows wide. Armpits releasing and relaxing. You can slide your shoulder blades down your back a little bit here. And if you need to change your arm position, that's also fine. Smooth inhalations, smooth exhalations. And feel the entire length of your trunk from the pelvic floor all the way to the thoracic outlet where the neck meets the trunk. Feel that length. Feel the dimension of your trunk, its depth, its length, its width. Relax internally here. And then roll over onto your side to come out of the pose. Now we'll practice Shavasana, and we'll do what I call a wide Shavasana, with the limbs nice and wide. So set yourself up by taking the flesh of the buttocks away from the lower back. And have your head resting on a blanket here, so there's some softness under the head. And then stretch your arms out wide and stretch your legs out wide, like a starfish. And just enjoy the spaciousness of this Shavasana, letting the limbs be expansive and relaxed at the same time. And deepen your breath here. And let your next exhalation be very slow and gradual and smooth. Relax and release.